Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful matchup here of Link to the Past Randomizer League. Tonight, this morning, wherever you are watching and tuning in from, we have a matchup in the Thievestown division of the Open League between Validation Chest Boots and the Hovering Sick Kids. Both teams just coming off of a win in the last week with Cross Keys. And so Skele representing Validation Chest Boots here, and Rhades138 representing Team Hovering Sick Kids. My name is Tyvarius. I will be your in-flight entertainment this evening, just doing the comms while these two runners put on a heck of a show. I am supported on the back end of things, tracked by Darity Peels and, of course, Oro doing the restream, both of whom are also in this Thievestown division. Very tight race going on right now for the top half of the league, or for the top half of the division rather. Both Validation Chest Boots and Hovering Sick Kids mathematically have a shot, so it's a lot riding on the race today. So we'll get started here in just a few moments and then get everything synced up for you. And the early divergence that you love to see, Skele starting at Sank, meanwhile Rhades starting at Link's house. Skele picking up that key, so if Skele does choose to do that escape, gonna know right away that they can get all the way through to the back. And that was a really quick map check, but I believe I saw regular pendants at Desert, Tower of Hera, and a regular crystal over at Eastern. So all the fun's gonna be in the Dark World. Not a lot of fun on that first tree pull, though. Just a couple of hearts. Skele about to find out that same information here. Uncle holding the sword, so that does mean, yep, Rhaid's going to get that sword from the uncle. Really nice weapon to start. Could do the escape if he so chooses, but would be stuck because he doesn't have that key that Skele got out of the Sanctuary. And more vanilla, as we have a vanilla piece of heart on the lumberjack ledge. So not too much going on there, but yet looks like Rhades is going to at least peek into the front half of Escape. But Skele taking full advantage of this route's 2 bush crabs, really filling up on rupees, gets a whole 260 of them. That's really nice, going to be heading into Kakariko. If it is dry, can buy the bottle vendor, could even buy bombs, and saying no to an early heart container. And Skele gonna grab a sword as well, but saving and quitting. Okay, interesting. As Rhades pulls out the Cane of Samaria there on the right side of your screen. Looks like Skele wants to hold on to all those rupees. Gonna take the south route into Kakariko. Gonna gamble on some of these 50-50 bushes down here to get bombs, and then just do the south to north route. Not bad. Meanwhile, Rhades showing off how to go through Escape almost the intended way. Has that small shield out of Link's house, has the sword, but that's not vanilla. Grabbing that moon pearl out of the boomerang chest in Escape. That's going to be vital, and Skele's going to want to go to that sooner rather than later. Whole lot of nothing on the south side of Kakariko, but we'll see what goes on the inside. As Rhades really nice with that 1 pot and 4 slash strat on that ball and chain guard. Really clean fight there by Rhades. So Skele is going to cash in some of that, cash, and get those bombs there to go ahead and finish out Kakariko. It looks like Rhades is going to, go north, get all that same information that Skele got just a little bit ago. It's always handy to get a bottle early in Kakariko so you don't have to leave Sick Kid behind. And Skelly turns that in right away for just 20 bucks, which Raids just got a whole lot of those from that bush crab that we know is dropping them today. There we have our first really nice item out of the village itself. That's the hook shot on Skelly's side. Plus, hey, look, even more money, so I don't think we're going to be too worried about cash this seed. Hook shot and mirror. Interesting. So that, as soon as we find a glove, that does open up a lot of items up on Death Mountain that we can grab. Raids, though, already on Master Sword at 5 minutes, not going to say no to that. And Skele really getting the firepower and half magic to boot, so probably going to go ahead and just cook everything in the early game until he pops into Escape to get that Master Sword and Moon Pearl. And grabbing a glove, and we have a stack of Rico today. Interesting. So Skelly gonna go ahead pop into the back of Escape, and to be completely biased, because I am also on Validation Chest Boots, I hope he goes back to front in the dark to pick up that Moon Pearl. Meanwhile, Raid's finding out all the goodness that is in Blind's hut here. Grabbing his glove as well. So we are a hammer or another glove away from really quick Dark World access, at least on Raid's side. Skelly, of course, gonna have to pop into Escape to get that Moon Pearl, but he knows there's plenty of items there, so we'll see what else pops up progression-wise. But both the hookshot and the mirror, so options for doing sneaking through the dam here. Grabbing some blue mail, not bad, especially after he skipped that full heart container. Gonna feel nice and cozy there with that blue mail. Meanwhile, Raids also makes his major purchase of 10 bombs. Make sure to stock up before continuing on. And Skelly grabbing just enough cash, might be thinking about a Zora play here. Question in chat, yes, Skelly was mentioning using the Chrono Trigger music, so I can confirm that is what it is, although I'm sure you can too just by listening. Meanwhile, we continue the trend of not having to worry at all about money, so we can currently buy Zora, get into Pod, and even do Digging Game and the chest game, if my math is correct, and still have a couple of rupees left in our pockets, so we are set on cash. Raids just doing a little back and forth to clean up the village, turning in that bottle, as we know, is just going to net 20 bucks. But hey, it's something you know you're going to do. A lot of these early Sphere Zero checks, you don't really feel bad about having to do them because they're Sphere Zero, and odds are your opponent's going to do them as well. Alrighty, and Skele is going to go into castle or into escape here, so gonna get that Master Sword and the Moon Pearl. I'm gonna guess Rhades is gonna do South Shore, so after they finish backtracking each other's steps, we'll see where they decide to go. Oh, maybe Rhades saving and quitting to the Sanctuary, though. Might be thinking about doing that mountain play out of logic. Of course, for runners of this caliber, logic is more often than not just a suggestion, and they're very good at keeping track of what they do and don't find out of logic, but just gonna go ahead and grab those back 3 items in the escape. And Rhades looks like he's going to go ahead and do reverse escape to Dark Cross. Very interesting. Already did front of escape, so can't hit Dark Cross from the front. But if you know where the torches are in this room, absolutely, as Rhades is showing there, you can light it, grab that key, nice and easy. Makes escape a little bit easier in the dark, so that Fire Rod and Half Magic already coming in handy. And we have a 10-minute Tempered Sword. Why not? Rhades putting on a masterclass of knowing where those torches are to get that Tempered Sword. Well then, I think we're set on firepower. Fire Rod, Half Magic, Tempered Sword, Hook Shot for stunning if we really need it. So yeah, these runners are set. Iron Zephyr, I think that's about right. Jet Seed or Ice Rod / Medallion Hunt. We'll see what it comes down to. As Rhades, instead of doing... Rhades didn't do South Shore. No, Rhades did Back of Escape, and then... yeah, so Rhades skipping out on South Shore for now. Actually going to get paid out for that, because South Shore wasn't much. And Skele being able to use that mirror, going to go ahead and get his Tempered Sword. So while he is a couple of checks up on Rhades, Rhades gonna go ahead and go up the mountain. We know logically the next progressive item is over in the eastern Saha area. What that item is, though, remains to be seen. Could be the lamp, which gets us up here. Could be the flute, which gets us up here. Rhades gonna show us 2 items at this side of Death Mountain, and then do East Death Mountain again out of logic. But hey, it's a large bevy of items. Absolutely right, my NDM. For all we know, the logic could be there's a lamp in Eastern to come up here and get a bow to go and finish Eastern. So I wholeheartedly agree with this play. It's the density check. So, oh, Oro, why? Why? Iron Zephyr, you are correct. Agina's Cave is still a logical check. As we just catch the top few pixels of a bottle there on Lake Hylia Island. And Skele going to go ahead and stay in logic for now, though, and head over to the eastern area. Yep, I agree wholeheartedly, my NDM. And with that Moon Pearl, they could even fake Flipper and get into the waterfall area. To check 2 more items. But there's the lamp, which means flute is our logical access up here, so that will be down, and there it is, which Skele just grabbed out of Saha's closet hut. Ooh, goodness. Mixing my words there. A little excited, they both found the mountain access at the same time. gets that bomb jump, saves a couple of seconds there on going around. Meanwhile, Skele going to go ahead and activate that flute at just shy of 14 minutes. And Skele taking a ride on Swag Duck Airlines, going to go up the mountain to do exactly what Rhades is doing now. Going to go ahead and get that lamp, more mail. So yeah, Skele's going to be, what is that, 7 hearts red mail? Going to be very, very comfortable for the rest of the seed here. But really, just that lamp and that mail up on the mountain is really the only big progression. So yeah, that flute got us up the mountain to get that lamp. So chat, you might have that horrible scenario you're hoping for, which is take flute, get mountain, grab lamp, kill Aga. So if I'm not mistaken, the remaining checks that we have that have not yet been seen then are inside of Eastern Palace and Agina's Cave. Yep, and as Plumeria is calling out, there are 2 items in Hera that can also be accessed. While these runners are retracing each other's steps, I will call out Plumeria Knight, also a member of Hovering Sick Kids here in chat, going to be playing tomorrow at the same time. So that will be game 2 between these 2 teams. And now that Rhades is doing South Shore, both runners on that red mail. Both probably feeling pretty comfortable with where they are, both offensively and defensively. Thank you, Oro. I will look at that because it should absolutely be PM. Thank you for calling that out. Thank you, Plumeria. Well, I do appreciate you calling that out, as both runners have now finished retracing those steps, but Skele leaving, gonna flute. So if, Plumeria, if your worst fears are confirmed, oh, never mind. Skele coming back to this side of the mountain, so Rhades gonna go ahead, pop into at least Saha, maybe even Eastern, and Skele gonna give us that Hera check. And our good friend Saha Shirala telling us that that green pendant is over in Skull Woods. Skele, giving us that Dark World check real quickly. We have a green pendant up in Skullwoods that we just found out from Saha Shirala, and I believe I saw the red crystals on the right side of the map there at Turtle Rock and Pod. Chat, feel free to correct me on that one. I am alone in the booth, but I know Eagle Eye Dare peels. I'm tracking, probably going to take care of it, no problem. Rhades, though, activating his flute as Skele prepares to Harapot. Awesome. Thank you, chat and Darity. I knew I saw some red up in the corner, so appreciate it. Yep, Iron Zephyr calling it out. Nice quick Harapot there by Skele. Grabbing that compass and a solid fake flipper there by Rhades. Skele gonna have to kill the worm here, though. After seeing that small key, really hoping that Moldorm has the prize he seeks. Otherwise, gonna have to take a coffee break or abandon something. And Skele going ahead, using that Cane of Burna to his advantage to grab the map. So if we really want the prize in Hera, he's gonna have to go back into the basement. Whole lot of nothing on the Autologic Hobo, so Rhades, like we were talking about, probably gonna take that Moon Pearl, at least check the waterfall, and then plenty of cash, probably gonna pay for Zora as well. And all right, well, Skele saying he's seen enough, gonna go ahead and just kill Aga. Huh. This is either a really big brain play, or I'm gonna have words with him. But Rhades not pulling much out of the waterfall there, so we're going to get a peek at the ledge and take a trip to our resident scamfish. And I think that's going to stay on the ledge there. Yeah, Iron. Logically, at best, it's 3 items in Eastern Agena, and that 1 item in the bottom of Hera. So, and oh, that is the worst return on investment I think possible. The single arrow for 500 rupees. Save that one in your quiver, Rhades. You're gonna need it to kill Ganon later. I mean, hey, in King Zora's defense, that is a unique item. Yeah, Plumeria, I think Rhades heard you, because definitely peeking that desert ledge and then going to pop into Agena here as Skele working his way up Aga Tower. Skele saying, I have half magic in this fire rod, so I'm just going to use that. And in Agena's cave, we have 10 arrows. A much better deal than Zora, but still a long way to go. But Rhades making the same play. Only difference is Skele went and dipped, of course, Tower of Hera, and Rhades went to check Agena. So that's our big difference here between these two runners, as they both make the Aga play without even touching Eastern. That's true, thank you. So Skele getting to the top of the tower as Rhades enters. How many blue balls are we thinking we're going to see from our good friend Aghanim today? 2 and 2 for the first cycle, as Rhades also has the Fire Rod out, going to be making good use of that half magic on the climb as well. Ooh, almost got away with a 2-cycle Aga, but getting that last blue ball there. The good news about the randomizer, if you are new here, both runners are going to get the same pattern of RNG from Aga. So no worries about wasting or gaining time on that fight. And we have a well-camouflaged ether medallion on the side of the pyramid here. Might need that, remains to be seen. So at this point, you could pop into Palace of Darkness. You could take that hook shot and go the long, fun way around Dark World, and looks like that's what Skele's doing. Gonna go ahead and check Catfish, though. I appreciate the thoroughness here. Just because if you don't check this now, after, there's not many other times to do it. So, Rhades watching Princess Zelda disappear, about to pop into his fight against Aga. Again, going to be that just over 2 cycle with the 3 non-reflected energy ball shots. Second fish just having a big heart container, but Skele gonna go ahead and check Zora now. Can't get into that waterfall, so just gonna scout the ledge and buy that all-important single arrow. So looking at what we have, we can pop into Pod, which we can't complete because we need the hammer and a bow. Could pop into Skull Woods, which we can complete, but it's just a green pendant. Could beat Thieves Town, but we'd leave behind that one important big chest. So you could gamble that either the map compass or the small key is in there. So we'll see what Skele decides to do here, and then what Rhades decides to do once coming through, as Aga falls on his side. We're about to get a high five here by these runners as Rhades just leaves the pyramid screen and Skele just pops into it. Solid map check there by Rhades, and is also choosing to go north here. So may also go check Catfish, but that's just the single check, so might do what Skele's doing here and just hookshot across, but opts to be thorough and take that Catfish check. Yep, Skele, good heads up play, realizing, hey, I have the mirror. Yeah, it kind of isolates King's Tomb, but that's in the light world anyway. Gonna go ahead and check Graveyard Ledge here. Not Pyramid Ledge, we just saw that. But as the seed's been so generous with cash already, just more money. Raids, however, saying, I have plenty of health, I have red mail, I do not need your gift, catfish, and walking away. So Skele gonna pop over to the northwest side of Dark World here for us. That is correct, Gamer Bunker. This is a Thieves Town division showdown between these two teams here. This is the first time they are facing each other. The second is going to be tomorrow at the same time, 7:40 Eastern PM. Thank you again, Oro and Plumeria, for catching and fixing that. So it looks like Skele is taking the hint with that early fire rod to say, hey, yeah, it's green pendant, but Skullwoods is pretty quick. Gonna go ahead and probably clear this out. And if our third teammate Hexodus is in chat, I don't want to hear anything about Skullwoods being stacked, even though it clearly was this time. That hammer is going to be very important, and now we have more access to the Dark World, not just that portal from killing Aga. Raids checking that bumper ledge and gonna go south. Could still pop up in the Skullwoods to get that hammer. So we shall. Yep, gonna pop up. So not gonna get too much advantage out of the timing on that hammer on Skele's side, which is good. It makes for a good, exciting race. Opting to do the front first, though. So Skele popping into our green pendant moth fight. Very nice fight there. A couple of spikes moved for the uninitiated, of course. And there's the second item. Wow. So Skele, the back first methodology here, paying off for Skele, grabbing that green pendant, which will be worth another item later on. Again, for the uninitiated, the Mothula fight is coded so amazingly well on the Super Nintendo that if you hit Moth, it does damage, but if you hit Moth and he recoils into the spikes, that damage gets negated. Because the game developers thought, well, Moth is a flying boss, we don't want him flying over spikes and getting hurt, so they made him immune to spikes. Raid's about to get that very good news, though, that the hammer is right here, so not going to be missing out. As Skele wisely going at the left side of the portal there to get a slightly quicker warp. Gamer Bunker, I will let Raids' teammates in chat speak to that. I can confirm that 2 of Validation Chest Boots' team members can hover. However, all 3 of us have not practiced the Moldorm bouncing up. Raids, though, saying that hammer is the true prize in getting out of there. So if that green pendant does turn out to be something, that's going to be a little advantage. But again, that's just one item later on. Going to get the time save, though, of not going back and having to kill them off. Skele showing off that if you hookshot at just the right distance, you can actually hookshot to that pot, which is always great. And grabbing that vanilla big key as Rhades grabs another bottle out of the brewery. Lots of money in the chess game, though, for Rhades. Jester, all I could think of when I read that in chat was the line for Andre the Giant from Princess Bride, where talking about not knowing how to swim. He says, "I only dog paddle." But Skele really putting that hook shot through its paces there in the conveyor room, saving just a little bit of time hooking to each of those statues. And hey, there's a fun item, grabbing that Cane of Samaria on Skele's side out of the attic. So obviously Rhades going to come into contact with that pretty soon here. And I may have missed one of the items in the front, but I think that the big chest might be a map or a compass, depending on what's in this chest here. And the map, so I don't, checking, doesn't have the compass, but I don't know if I'd risk it. Obviously, we just got that hammer, so not really missing out. So the Skullwood's first play paying off there, getting that hammer and not orphaning this chest. Which was just the compass anyway. Boo, game. So even if you don't know the blind script very well, red mail, a full row of hearts, Cane of Burna, it's a pretty cozy blind fight we're coming up to here. Looking pretty solid through two phases. Skele popping into phase 3 here. 1, 2. Oh, gets bopped a little bit, but gets blind down. No problem. For $20. However, that is our first crystal of the seed, coming at 37 minutes and 30 seconds. Grabbing that crystal, gonna need 7 of those to open up Ganon's Tower and slay the pig. But obviously Rhades not too far behind, does have that little time save to be determined of clearing out the village first before going into Thieves Town, and of course not killing Mothula. Big prize, of course, was that Cane of Samaria, but it doesn't really do us a whole lot of good yet. Obviously gonna do the dig game and either save and quit after Stumpy, or just take the full hike to the east all the way to Hype Cave, where we will likely find some more progression. If not, it's going to be quite a while until these runners decide to go up to the Tower of Hera basement. I'm with you, Chad. I'm hoping for something silly. Rhades, though, starting his blind fight perfectly. Oh, gets bopped there. I apologize for saying anything at all, Raids. Raids using B strats on blind gets him down as Skele digs up yet another heart from the dig game. And 39-14, Raids picks up his first crystal. Your weapons are useless. B. Skele thought about that one for a second and decides, yeah, I'll pick up the red boomerang. Why not? Where is Raids going? This is interesting. Might be going back into Skullwoods for that green pendant. Might have been hoping for a little something more out of Thievestown. But yeah, coming back into Skull here as Skele. Not a whole lot yet, but we still have Hype Cave. And then, of course, with that newfound hammer, can do most of Pod. Fully assuming, of course, Pod isn't bow-locked. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say both these runners know how to unlock the camera with a potion. Nope, not yet, Bullet. No bow, but plenty of arrows in Hype Cave. Iron Zephyr, this mode is open with progressive bows, so if there is a bow on pedestal, it could logically be their first bow. However, there is another bow in the pool, and the first one you find is the bow. Second one you find is silver arrow. Anubis, very possible. Both these runners opted to skip Eastern Palace for the time being, so it could very well be in there. And Raids also with a very nice moth kill. Only 4 spikes it looked like move, so well done there. And I doubt Skele's coming all the way up here just for Hera Basement. I'm guessing this is actually a Spike Cave check. Just saved and quit. So if it's nothing, could just reset and get all that magic back, although we have half magic. Still could not be Ice Rod on Pet Anubis. Yep, there you saw it. Oh, me, oh my. You're not resetting those, Skele. Those are some fancy boots. Yeah, of course, could very well not be necessary to beat the seed. It all depends on what's on Desert Torch and GT Torch. We've already seen the library, that's nothing. But those are going to be handy for Skele, as he's just going to gain that little bit of momentum, just in overworld movement, thanks to those boots for every minute that Raids doesn't go check that Spike Cave. So Raid's going to go ahead, though, do his South Dark World loop as Skele... Oh, I see what you're doing. I think Skele's going to go ahead and do Bonk Rocks into King's Tomb, and then probably over to Pod. I'm not sure what's in their second bottle. I know one was a bug, but could go ahead and refill at the potion shop as well. I like that. Okay, those boots are going to be very required for raids. Skele grabs Titan's Mitts out of the Bonk Rocks. Oh my, those boots are in a very precarious spot. However, as we know, progression-wise, Raids is kind of running out. Options could check some of Pod and some of Eastern, but then it's going to be forced up into that Hera spike play check. So yes, with both gloves and the hammer in Dark World, Aga 1 100% necessary. So Skele has everything necessary to beat Misery Mire here, as it is Ether to get in. Has that cane super early. Ether was even kind of early considering Aga was required. Again, might be just reading the spheres, thinking, all right, let's see what's going on here. As Raids, it's all right, because there could still be something here in the Pod Eastern area. But gonna go ahead, probably show us that green pendant. Gonna show us some of Pod, some of Eastern. A lot of checks over here. It's not a bad play. It's just unfortunately possibly not the correct play. We shall see. As boots proving further necessary with the small key on the Desert Torch there. Yep, and no big key in the chest, so yeah, even though we needed the mitts to get into Desert, could still be finding a book somewhere. But Saha, the rich uncle, just handing out $100 for that family heirloom. So Raid's paying off the second extortionist of the seed. Gonna go ahead, open up Pod here. Again, gonna know pretty early if we're bow locked, but with those bottles, could do the camera unlock glitch, or if Raids knows it, could also mimic clip the mimics out of the basement. But we're not bow locked, as there is that first key in the shooter room, so gonna be able to go right through the front door. Skele, meanwhile, showing why this dungeon is really early in the vanilla game and why you probably shouldn't have a tempered sword and hookshot and all kinds of fun things for this dungeon. Especially this fire rod, gonna go ahead and make these land molars pretty trivial. Raids, meanwhile, grabbing the vanilla big key out of Pod, and Skele getting trolled by the worms. But takes him down to get crystal number 2 and the Quake medallion. Alright, that's 2 of our medallions down. We already know we need Ether. Have the fire rod, so might not need bombos for Ice Palace, but it never hurts to have it before going back up to TR, just so you know you have everything you need. Might not need TR the Seed, of course, with it being a pendant. And Raids, oh man, I didn't even know if he had unlocked the camera. That was fast. Went ahead, got those mimics out of that room, tricked the game into thinking they were dead, and the door opens up. So Skele gonna go ahead and say, hey, I can get a 2-for-1 deal on these dungeons while I'm here. I'm gonna go ahead and knock out Misery Mire while he's in the area. Skele doing the rage slashes at that last Wizrobe there for dodging him. Raids, meanwhile, coming up pretty empty in pod, have a few checks left that we can do, but not much so far. Still have 3 checks in Eastern, but then probably going to realize what he needs is up the mountain. Heads up play there by Raids, knowing that the Harmless Hellway was a key, because the game assumes you use the keys in the silliest possible way, and so it prevents soft lock. So if you were to open up the key door in Helma's basement, and then open up that Harmless Hellway, it's going to make sure you have a key there, so you don't lock yourself out. But pod coming up empty. So gonna go ahead, try for better prospects here in Eastern. Could still have a vanilla bow chat. Very exciting. Yep, and we got a little audio change here as we pop over to Raids' audio. And Skele showing off a really nice rail clip there. You can do that on both sides of this dungeon. Saves a little bit of travel time, just need to be 1 frame, 2 pixels, I believe, above the rail in the door. And then a few boots shenanigans and you're through. Skele's starting to sweat that last item is in cutscene, but gonna go ahead and kill Vidi first because, hey, you have to do it. So if the item's down here, gotta do it anyway, and if the item's not, well, we'll see. He's already skipped 1 cutscene item today. Might just be looking to skip them both. Yep, the room you pretty much only see in as a kid when you have no idea how to get through Mire, and in Door Rando. Skele trying for Spooky there, but not getting it. I don't know all the reasons Spooky can break, but I'm gonna guess going through Desert might have done something to Spooky. But just more cash in Eastern, so yeah, I mean the play to avoid them really paying off, and Raids realizing, welp, Up the mountain we go. Skele opting for dash strats with that Cana Burna, just slicing through these eyeballs like it's nothing. Awesome, thank you, Oro. Yeah, and that's the same with the not allowed Armos shake storage, if I'm not mistaken. So it's the crystal cutscene that breaks the variables. Very interesting. But just getting powder from the eyeball, so confirmed. We can skip that cutscene as Skele grabs crystal number 3. Rhades, however, going into Tower of Hera. Smart play doing that before Spike Cave, because then you don't have to do another climb. So we will see if the basement item is A, checked, or B, anything. Rhades deciding, I don't want to deal with the RNG of these mini Dodongos here. Kadongos, I believe they're called. Gonna go ahead and just do the Herapot setup as well. And gets it beautifully. Rhades, however, about to get the bad news that there is something in Hera's basement. But with just Hera basement and Spike Cave, if I'm not mistaken, left on the menu for Rhades, might opt to do that basement check. But we're getting some new information, and to everyone's surprise, more money! The seed says, hey, you didn't have enough of this, even though you've already bought Zora. Have some more money. Rhades, you gave my heart a little stop there. Getting touched by the worm, but not knocked off the arena. As we do see, we do need Bombos. So it could very well be here in Hookshot Cave. Could be down there in Hera's basement, as we just see $20. Check number 2 is the Book of Medora. Okay, so that opens up 2 more things for us. And a piece of heart. So we could go do the Smith sequence in full. We do have those Titan's mitts now on Skele's side. So could go ahead and do the Smith sequence, but gonna go ahead and turn in that book right here at Ether. Just a bit outside. Piece of heart. So Skele still avoiding Pod Eastern. And gonna go ahead and do that Smith sequence. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and continue my meme saying Skele has plot armor. Yep, in play, not quite logical just because we don't have those flippers. But as long as you're not looking for the flippers for your go mode, Ice Palace could still have Bombos or that bow. Yep, Raid's about to experience a range of emotions. Speaking of flippers, look at that. Ice Palace is in play now. But both of our runners finding some fashionable footwear at about the same time. Flippers on Skele's side and those Pegasus boots for Raids. Also, something that I feel like every single one of us has done, forgetting you killed Aghanim and have the mirror, and then saving and quitting in the Dark World, getting you put on top of the pyramid. Alright, Skele turning in that powder at the magic bat. Survey says just 20 bucks. And oh no, Rhades was going for King's Tomb. Doesn't have the mitts though. We know they're just one check over in those Bonk Rocks. Rhades. No. But wisely probably going to do this from the Dark World, not knowing, that the mitts are right there in Bonk Rocks. So going to be able to loop in Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb in one fell swoop here as Skele. Nice. Doing the dash on the frame, you complete the hook shot to come and get 10 more arrows. So Bombos Tablet, if vanilla, hard orphaned on Skele's side, but gonna go ahead and at least, yep, there you go. Remembering still has those waterfall checks. Could see what the potion item is from the fairy, but gonna go ahead and get these 2 checks out of the way before popping into ice. Piece of Heart gives the refill as Raids coming over here like we were thinking. Gonna go ahead and get those Bonk Rocks, gonna get those mitts, and again, just from the footwear to the glove, feel a range of emotions here. It never feels good getting to boots that late if they block something major like this. If you get to them late and they don't block much, well, it's not too big of a deal. But at this point, Raids knew that they had to be blocking something important. Yep, and took the portal back and then realized, hey, wait, now I have those mitts, so I can just go into the King's Tomb. And the king apparently just loved explosives, as Skele gets the big key out of the first chest, so we'll see if he opts to flip the switch or not. I'm going to assume he will, just in case you get more items in the front. We'll see. Nope. Has the big key, says I don't need to flip the switch. Oh, man. I don't know how I feel about that. Zephyr, come on. Thanks, game. So, yeah, now we can find a bow up in Turtle Rock. Cool. I would too, weapon, because bow is our go mode on Skele's side. Because we're about to beat ice here. We have everything we need for swamp. All we need is that bow for Pod Eastern. And here's where chat comes alive with all the wonderful locations these items can be. I love it. Oh, goodness me. They're just in Green Bryn Oro because everyone skips Green Bryn. For the memes, right? But Raids taking those mitts straight over here to the desert mire area. Gonna get 2 more crystals out of the deal, much like Skele did. And Skele gonna go ahead, take out Cold Stare. Red Mail, what are we at? 15 hearts, Tempered Sword, Bombos, Half Magic, Fire Rod. I don't think Cold Stare stands much of a chance. Is that what they were researching on the station, Orange, and that's why the Space Pirates blew it up? And yep, not quite as quick as you like, but Cold Stare goes down for a key. I don't think we saw Iced Tea, but I also 2 items in the ice, one of those being Bombos. I know Skele was probably counting better, so yeah, I would have to assume Swamp first before diving TR, but I would also assume Skele would do Swamp and then probably the Pod Eastern dips, hoping for Bow there, just so, you know, you don't have to go up the mountain. Gonna check Hobo first, though, and we'll see where he opts to go after that. Yeah, Oro, I assume so. Especially just grabbing that small key, and then going to kill Cold Stare immediately. Obviously, he needed the small key, but killing Cold Stare. So I should assume Skele knows what he's doing. Yeah, I think we do have that Swamp play here. Plenty of items to get in Swamp. Again, all we're looking for is that 1 bow. Raids also going for that sweet rail clip and gets it. Love it. Raids a little worse for wear on the health front, though. Gonna have to be careful because that powder that Skele has is on Vitreous. Do have half magic and that Cana Burner, though, so should be okay. But it's one of those things where you never want to be too overzealous with either the magic usage or Mire Basement. Because even in Red Mail, the traps are still going to do one heart, so can't be too safe down here as Skele makes his way into Swamp. Of course, it's right there. So Skele at 1 hour, 7 minutes, and about 19 seconds, much to the chagrin of a few people in chat, does enter go mode. So the play to completely avoid Pod Eastern was the play to make in this seed. And now Skele's going to be able to go mode Pod, Eastern, and the rest of Swamp. Oh, Raids, be careful, bud. Taking that hit from the anti-fairy. Okay, and that spike too. Yikes. Oh, no, Raids. Oh. If I had to guess, probably, with the location of those boots, maybe feeling a little behind. So just thinking, I have to go. Not turning on that Cana Burna. So gonna have to just take another trip through Mire. It's not too terribly bad. But of course, in the moment, it's never something that you want to do. Skele, why are you opening chests? Probably just grabbing ones that are immediately on the way, just in case you run across that second bow. Obviously, that would make the Armos Knights a little faster. It's going to make the Ganon fight a little bit faster. You have half magic, so Fire Rod strats in the Gauntlet aren't too bad, but those silver arrows do make the last few fights a little more trivial. Skele not quite getting the dash pokes, so gonna have to kill Argus the old-fashioned way. Oh, I agree 100%, Iron Zephyr. It was, like you said, they both made very smart routing choices in the moment. I mean, they both went to Aga early, sort of reading that it was the Aga seed, so that was a smart play by both of them. It's that one play that worked out, that Spike Cave play. That really worked out in Skele's favor, getting the boots, which led right to the mitts, which was the bottleneck of progression, rather than Rhades going for the density play, which just didn't pan out. So I mean, a lot of commentators have said it, and I love stealing the line. The Pod Eastern play was not by any means a bad play for Rhades to make. I mean, because if you look at it from a density perspective, 9 times out of 10, mathematically, it should pan out. This is just the one time it did. So again, not a bad play, just the incorrect one for the seed. But Rhades turning on that Canaburna, slashing wildly at Vitreous. Gonna go ahead and take him down here. I think, yeah, there we go. The Burna Beams might have been hitting Vitreous before the sword there, but takes down Vitty, gets that powder, probably, a little needling there from Vitreous saying, hey, bet you wish you had this a minute ago. But gonna go ahead, that's Rhades grabbing crystal number 2 on his side, gonna pop into desert here for crystal number 3 shortly, as Skele makes his way into Pod, where we know that the big key is vanilla. Rhades going through the unfortunate layout of Desert Palace here. Grab the small key on the left to grab the big key on the right to mirror, and then go kill Landmolus. However, Rhades not yet being in go mode, gonna go ahead and check a couple of more chests on the way. Skele grabbing that big key there. Gonna go ahead and keep checking chest. Okay, yeah, just grabbing one more key. Knows that he needs that to get back to Helma. Heads up play there. And I mean, the silly part is Rhades is only 2 items from go, Flippers and Bow, because we know that Bombos isn't necessary to get into TR. I mean, obviously Rhades doesn't know that, and will likely find Quake before, I believe we'll find Quake before that. But Flippers and Bow are all that's needed, so they're being pretty elusive, and we know that the Flippers lead to the Bow, so gotta get back to that Smith sequence. So Raids coming up here to landmull us. Skele in the turtle room should have simultaneous boss fights here. Yep, absolutely Iron Zephyr. You know, it's a couple of checks. You have those myths now, so Raids knows. All right, I have the smith itself. I have purple chest if I want to. I have powder. I have hammer pegs. That's a good, easy 4 checks, and we know that's the right play to make. Skele getting that free key dash if you have an invulnerability item. Raids having a slightly nicer landmull pattern, and goes ahead. That's where Quake was. I knew it was somewhere in the way. And gonna go ahead and one raising up the crystal while the other boss explodes. That's crystal number 6 for Skele and crystal number 3 for Raids. Yep. Raids, though, going for that density play again of Dark Death Mountain. Cannot fault him one bit for this play. Several checks over here. Could very well be a bow, could very well be our flippers. As we know, it's just that red herring of a book. It's a very good point, Brutask. Very good point there with TR, you know, luckily being behind the medallion that's in Ice Palace. Skele, meanwhile, just on the hunt for 2 more big keys to finish out the seed. The one here in Eastern, and then the one up in Ganon's Tower. And Skele, happy that he doesn't have to do a few extra rooms here in Eastern, can just go to the back with that big key being right there. Raids also being thorough, though, and taking that book right over to the Ether Tablet. Gonna go ahead and get, I believe, his piece of heart, if my memory serves. Skele, you can't boomerang red eye goes. Come on, man. Probably just miscounted the quick swap ticks there and threw a boomerang instead of the bow. Drawing the bow, I guess, if we want to be pedantic about it. But going into the Armos Knights fights, gonna set up the quick kill. 5 shots to the right, 13 shots south, and there we go, 14 shots, 1 into the wall there. But Raids did not check the medallion requirement before going into Hookshot Cave, so gonna spend a little bit of time here checking the medallion requirement as Skele picks up crystal number 7 and gonna go ahead, head up the mountain one last time, and slay Ganon. So as Raids heads here towards the Smith chain and Skele heading up the mountain, I am going to please ask everyone here in chat if you are enjoying the show that these two runners are putting on. Like you've called out already, it's been a very great execution battle. Please go ahead, give the runners a follow. Obviously, there's still another week and a half of League left. So plenty more Link to the Past action where that comes from. Thank you so much, Oro, for putting that in the chat. And hey, Darity, thank you for that secondary command. If you, for whatever reason, enjoy the sound of my pattering or enjoy how on the spot Darity was with tracking, keeping me in check with making sure everything's right on the back end and how Oro's doing with the restream, please go ahead and drop them a follow as well. I know we all appreciate it. Again, Oro and Darity are on another Thievestown Division team, Zelda and Chill. And then, of course, I am Skele Bro today representing Team Validation Chest Boots, and Rhades representing Team Hovering Sick Kids as we get the crystal cutscene right as Rhades picks up his flippers. Skele gonna go ahead and dive Hope Room first. So named because you hope you find a small key and a big key over here, but nope, just a mushroom and a small key. So gonna go ahead and go right. I don't know. All right, he's gonna sprint through. I thought for a second he was gonna meme on us. We've had Validation Chest Boots this season have had 2 seeds in the league where the big key was in Tile Room. Luckily, one was in a week where it was co-op, and one was in the spoiler log, so not much time lost to Tile Room there, as Rhades picks up his $20 from the Magic Bat. And a handy heart refill there from the compass room, and we're going to the left. Sorry, Bob, we need that key. Skele bonks the key off the torch if we do end up going all the way to the room above Ice Armos. Bob the Anti-Fairy will be no more, and it will just be a regular Anti-Fairy. But Big Key is there, top left chest of Dark Magician Room, Stalfos Room, whatever you want to call it. And now Skele just has one castle climb to go, and then a rematch with a wizard, and a big pig to slay. So looking back on this seed, really the only pendant we had to dip into was the vanilla big key chest of Skull Woods to grab that hammer. Otherwise, we could have completely avoided the Tower of Hera and the rest of Skull Woods. But we are getting new information here on Rhades' side. Gonna go ahead, pop Bombos for a piece of heart. Skele getting a little bullied there by the mimics, but gonna go ahead and cane dash through the cannonball room. I'm a big fan of cane dashes. I think it's an underutilized strat. Clears out Gauntlet 1, and Rhades about to enter go mode. Gonna grab his bow here in just a little bit. Gonna do Swamp before Ice, so saving a little time there, but barring something drastic on Skele's side, probably not enough time. I know Chrono Trigger is known for chill music, but this is a little chill for a tower climb and a boss fight. Takes down Landmolus right as Rhades grabs that bow. Rhades entering go mode at 123.30 with a nice hammer dash to the key. So Rhades now able to go mode his remaining dungeons. Of course, has already cleared out, though, most of Pod and Eastern, so unfortunate there for Rhades, but hey, made it into go mode, gonna be able to go and finish those dungeons off. Oh, Oro, the music's still just full of bangers, don't get me wrong, but just a little relaxing for what should be like one of the more tense parts of the game. Alright, Skele, you gonna do these last two checks to still try and find some silvers? Skips pre-Moldorm, but are you gonna do the name proud and check validation chest, Skele? Yeah, yes he is. Gets Moldorm's last possession of 20 rupees, making the name of validation chest Boots. Very happy checking that validation chest, sprinting through my least favorite room of the gauntlet as Rhades making his way to the back of Swamp. Time to fight Aghanim times 3. Might have been a double there. I don't know how quickly those two shots deflected into Aghanim. That one was just a single. That one was a double, so 3 or 4 hits we will see here. Alright, so single, single, double, double, I believe is what we had there. Meanwhile, Skele dancing around like a madman as the bat flies away. Duck comes to pick him up right as Argus is exploding on Rhades' side, picking up his map and another crystal, putting Rhades at 4 crystals as Skele about to drop in again. Ganon playing nice in Phase 2 for Skele, sitting in the corner. And now we're on to Phase 3. Ganon stomping the floor just a few times in a fit of rage. And then, without silver arrows, we are going to have to spin to win on Phase 4. Well, if you wanted silver arrows, that Bombos was necessary. They were in Turtle Rock. Rhades showing off his icebreaker skills here, and beautifully done. Wonderful icebreaker there by Rhades. Rhades, knowing he's in go mode, going ahead and skipping chests here as Skele puts the final spin on the pig. So as long as he can cross this tiny, dangerous bridge, that should do it. Get your GGs in chat for Skele. He does cross the bridge, does finish with an official race time finish of 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 39 seconds. GG's to Skele. And with that, obviously, big shout outs to Rhades, GG to Rhades as well. Gonna go ahead and put in the forfeit. And as if summoned by magic, here we are joined in the booth by both Rhades and Skele. GG's, gentlemen.
Thank you. GG Skele.
GG's.
So I have to say the first thing that really stuck out to me is both of you decided, I'm not going to go to Agena. I already dipped Saha. I'm not going back to Eastern. Let's just go ahead and do Aghanim. Walk me through that decision, because you both did it with checks still available in Sphere 0.
Well, I did Aghanim before I went.
Agena? Yep, sorry. I know you had done Agena. Skele skipped Agena, but you both completely skipped Eastern.
At that point, my thought process was, well, it's either a double dip to Eastern or a trip up Agate Tower. It's about a wash.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Actually, once I started climbing, I was starting to think I probably should have done Agena first, because it's a lot more free when you have the flute. So maybe that was a little bit careless. But yeah, Eastern, like, if I can help it, I don't really want to double dip it. And I had the hookshot and the glove. So that meant, like, there was a ton of stuff in Logic and Dark World. So yeah, I mean, I also had Hera Basement and Zora, I think. But, like, those are really slow. So I tried to do the math in my head, and it was like basically 6 checks or so in Light World versus, like, I don't know, 30 or something in Dark World. So it just felt like the odds were in the Dark World's favor there, and it ended up being
And
correct.
apparently the play was Spike Cave instead of Aghanim, so...
Yeah.
Well, didn't have Hammer. Never mind.
Yeah, Hammer was Aga locked, so...
Yep. Both gloves and the hammer were Aga locked, technically, as that hammer was in Skull. I'm drawing a blank on where that first glove was. I think no, that was up the mountain, maybe.
First glove was in before Aga.
There we go. So yeah, the hammer was in Skullwoods, which was technically the only pendant dip required unless you wanted those silvers. And then, of course, the mitts behind those boots. So yeah, we were talking a little bit about that here in comms and on stream Raids. It wasn't a bad play. You went for the density play with Pod Eastern when Skele went up the mountain. It just happened to be the one seed where the play was to go up the mountain and not check density.
Yeah.
So a bit unfortunate. I do want to say, both your moth fights were very well done. You both went into Skullwoods before going into Thieves Town, so no worries about the hammer there. So once you saw that hammer in Skull, obviously, dipped Thieves Town. We saw where you both went. What were you thinking or assuming was going to be the next progression from there?
I think the main thing I was thinking about was bow.
Yeah. That was my main concern the entire seed.
Yeah, because I had already skipped Eastern, so that was, like, kind of on my mind, and I had Mirror, so if I just found the bow, then suddenly I can do Pod and Eastern at the same time really efficiently. Of course, bow ended up being go mode, so... yeah, that's definitely the next thing. And I guess the mitts, too. That was a big question mark.
Yeah, definitely an interesting seed in where those items were and how much was sort of linear behind those boots. It was boots was the only item in a sphere, if you really wanted to think about it, which led to mitts, which led right to those flippers behind the hammer pegs, which led to that bow in swamp. So it's like, it was pretty linear after that, which is unfortunate. It's really fun to watch a seed, but no, you were both executing very, very well and both making very good choices. Like I said, it came down to sort of that one spike cave play.
Yeah, and I was on the fence about that too. Like, you absolutely could just go for the density there. But part of why I didn't was because, like, I had found that hammer, but, like, it didn't do anything yet. So I was like, I have to find some way to, like, validate. Like, even at that point, I didn't know it was an Agaseed yet, for sure. Because, like, Mitz could have still been in Light World or something. So I was like, well, let's just chase hammer checks. So that would be Spike Cave and then Pod. I did Spike Cave first just because it's faster, and I didn't want to do a Pod double dip if I could help it. But yeah, you totally could just go to Pod first. I was kind of wrestling with that decision for a couple minutes there.
Fair enough. I guess my last question, and we're gonna bring it back to about 6 minutes into the seed. How are you? How are you both feeling at like 6 or 7 minutes with Tempered Sword, Half Magic, and Fire Rod? And thinking, well, I think I'm set offensively.
I was just waiting for the rub. Like, I knew it couldn't be that easy.
Yeah, it felt comfy for sure. But I was also thinking about that Aga play. As soon as I found that Master Sword. Because I think I already had Hookshot at that point, maybe. Whenever I get the Hookshot, I'm always like, could be an Agaseed. That's
Yep.
like the secret Aga item right there. No one really talks about it. But Hookshot gets you across that river in the Dark World. It really changes things a lot.
Yep, Hookshot was in Kakariko, and it was a little funny.
That's right.
One of you, I believe, Rhades, I think you went up the mountain in the dark, and Skele went over to Saha at pretty much the same time, and we were saying, Rhades, you found the lamp, and I said, well, we're gonna find the flute down in the light world, right as Skele picked it up out of Saha. I'm like, yeah, okay then.
As soon as I saw it on the mountain, I knew it had to be down in there somewhere. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, again, a fantastic race. It really was. I mean, Rhades, again, great execution. It unfortunately some days rando it do be like that, as the kids say.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts on the seed or league? I know Hovering Sick Kids, if I'm not mistaken, this is your second year in the league. Looking at things, already a better record than last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah, we already have more points than we had all of last season. It's been pretty good this year. We're performing pretty well. I've been really happy. All I really have to say is Tiberius, Darity Fields, Oro, thank you very much for putting us on tonight.
Yeah, same. Thanks. Thanks a bunch for the restream. Ty, did you solo commentate this whole thing? That's pretty intense, man.
I did, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without Darity and Oro on the comms team with me, even though they weren't in the booth themselves. Darity kept me honest, and Oro obviously providing the restream, so nice. Couldn't do it without them. And as I was saying, they're also in our division on Zelda and Chill, so it was a fun Thievestown family event here today.
Thievestown Division production.
Awesome. So as I was saying, these two teams will square off again tomorrow. Thanks to Oro catching the time snafu. It's going to be the same time tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and that is going to be myself against Plumeria Knight. So definitely looking forward to playing Plumeria again. Faced him in the Challenge Cup, so looking forward to that. And then it's just 1 week left. Rhades, who are you guys thinking about putting in the last week with Enemizer?
Plume is going to run both races, and then one with me and one with Jester.
Very cool, very cool. And I think on our side we have Skele running both races, one with me, one with Exodus. So looking forward to that week as well. But I know I said any last thoughts on the seed. Any last thoughts in general before I'm going to take a look, see what kind of other race action we got going on. But any last thoughts from you two?
Just once again, thanks for putting on the show. It was a fun seed. Yeah, GG's.
GG.
One matchup left tonight, and that's Immortals versus Magliacci, and that's happening at 11:10 p.m. Eastern time after the delay. And right now, there is possibly still a match in action. Unsure about a restream there with Keys Force versus Kakariko Brew Crew. And then later tonight, we do have Grouchy Old Men versus It's Mitts. That's Slowpoke versus Slapshot Fred. That will be on this channel here coming up pretty soon, 10:40 Eastern. So just about an hour. You can come on back here, get some more rando action. So with that, though, I will say one more time, if you're still here, thank you so much for hanging out. We'll put the command in chat one more time. Give these runners a follow. Skele and Rhades both put on a great show for us tonight. So please, please, please follow them. And again, thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. I've been Tiverius on comms. Gentlemen, one more time, GG's, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and rest of League.
Good night.